Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today I'm bringing you guys a first place virtual world deck profile. Now this is not my profile, this is actually my friend Israel's from my my locals over at Ecade in Hutchinson, Minnesota. So he's been doing very well with this deck at our locals, other stores, as well as at like regionals and whatnot. So I figured it was time to profile this. We did not have time to film a profile of himself the other day, so he just had me, he sent me the list and he wanted me to profile it for him. So, without any further ado, I guess just a brief description of this deck. It is a virtual world along with the adventure token engine, as well as it just sort of focuses on ending on Shen, but then also utilizes a combo with Beatrice and Dragonlark to be able to get Scythe into graveyard, so you can Scythe lock your opponent and end on Shen. So this is slightly inspired by my Drytron deck profile, which I did a couple weeks ago, where I was using the Dragonlark to be able to get Scythe out of the graveyard after you send it with Beatrice or something. So that was the inspiration for this deck, but this deck was actually utilizing Fossil Dyna for the combo originally, and then I sort of inspired Israel to try and use the Scythe lock. So anyways, very standard ratios for the virtual world cards. We're running 3 copies of the Lulu, 3 copies of Lao, as well as then getting on into the 3 copies of Lily, and then your 3 copies of the Gigi, and then finishing off with 1 copy of Nan. Now you can sort of change up the virtual world ratios as you like. Some people like playing 2 copies of Nan. I like playing the 2-2, but actually for this particular build, with using stuff like the adventure token engine and whatnot, I figured he and I were kind of going over if there's any changes to make, but I think 2-2 is best left out of this deck because you just don't want to have a hand where you like open with like adventure token stuff and then like a 2-2 and then like a virtual world trap card or something. That would really be like a bricky hand. And then like if you drew into Nan as well, then like you just wouldn't have any like virtual world combos to put off. So for that reason, I think that it was just best to leave out the 2-2. Then getting on into the adventure token stuff, we have of course our 3 copies of the Water Enchantress, 1 copy of Wandering Griffin Rider as well, just to get our Omni Negate. This is like the biggest reason why this is in here, obviously. We like playing the level 3s as well, but obviously with the Wandering Griffin Rider, it gives you the utility to be able to stop stuff like Nibiru and whatnot, which is obviously like always like the biggest offender against virtual world, or if you can stop something like a lightning storm or any other big board breaker cards like that. Then we're going to get on into the 3 copies of the Rite of Aramasir, pretty standard as well, along with the Fateful Adventure, and then your 1 copy of Dracoback to be able to bounce all of your opponent's other stuff. One other really cool, neat little engine that Israel plays in here is the 2 copies of Destiny Hero Malicious. So the way that your combo wants to go on this first is to be able to pitch the Malicious to the graveyard with your Beatrice. Then you banish one of the Malicious. Ooh, wow. Banish one of the Malicious to get the second one on the field, and now you're halfway to getting your Dragonlark, because then all you're going to need is another level 6 monster on the field. Then you can go into that Dragonlark combo, and then during your opponent's turn, you go ahead and send your 1 copy of Scythe, which we are also playing in the deck, obviously. Send your Scythe to the graveyard with the Beatrice in the standby phase, and then while still in the standby phase, you special summon back the Scythe with the Dragonlark, which will then proc the effect of the Scythe to be able to lock your opponent out of the extra deck. So that is how the basic combo goes. Then for the hand traps, playing just 3 copies of Ash Blossom, another nice little level 3 option. Sometimes if you're desperate enough, you can just normal summon this out, and then you have a level 3 on the field, and then 2 copies of Nibiru just to be able to help break your opponent's board if they're doing any really big stuff. But let's get on into the rest of the spells and traps. So we're playing our 3 copies of the Virtual World Kowloon just to be able to get whatever spell or trap that we need out of the deck at the moment. Along with the 3 copies of Qinglong, just one of the best ways to be able to get extra resources into your hand and even possibly set up your graveyard. If you draw into that Malicious, the Qinglong is a really nice resource to use to sort of get the Malicious engine going. Then we have our 3 copies of Emergency Teleport. There's no reason not to play this because we're playing level 3 Psychics. And then next getting on into 2 copies of Chuche, and then the 1 copy of the Zhang Wu. Pretty standard. Some people play with the 3 copies of Chuche. I've sort of dabbled around down there from time to time, but this is a 42 card deck, so it is probably just best to keep Chuche as a 2 of. That way, you know, you're being able to get into the engine pieces that you need to see. Getting on then into the XCs, we're playing our 1 copy of Breaksword, just as an extra rank 3, and then we have our Beatrice and Dragonlark combo, as I mentioned before. So this is just a really, really strong combo that I think people are starting to kind of utilize in this format now that we've lost being able to get to DPE as easily as we were able to last format. Now you sort of have to go into other options to be able to do these Scythe locks. So you can always, like I said, send with Beatrice during either your turn or during your opponent's standby phase, and then use the Dragonlark to be able to revive that said Scythe during the standby phase still, and then your opponent's going to get Scythe locked. Then we're going to get on into our 1 copy of Virtual World Fan, then the 1 copy of Constellar Ptolemy M7, and then 1 copy of Double A Zeus. Obviously, we're playing so many XZ monsters that you just got to be playing Zeus in here. Then getting on into 1 copy of Stardust Charge Warrior, 1 copy of Coral Dragon, 1 copy of Juijui. This card, in honesty, like when you get into the grind game and when you get into a more simplified game state, the Juijui is really, really solid for just being able to help in that grind. And then for our last of the Virtual World monsters, we have the 1 copy of Virtual World Shen. Obviously, this is just sort of how you want to end your combo. So if you end up drawing into full combo, you're hopefully going to be ending on either your Scythe Lock combo and then your Adventure Token engine, and then possibly Shen if you open up absolutely cracked, or you just end on Shen along with that the Beatrice and the Dragonlark Perrin, and then you're going to be sitting pretty good because all of your opponent's resources are going to be getting banished, and then they're not going to be special summoning from the extra deck, so they're not really going to be able to do too much. Then getting on into the Vermilion Dragon Mech, the 1 copy of Muddy Mud Dragon, and Ultima Zolkin to be able to do all of your cool other extra deck combos, like going into your Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and then obviously the 1 copy of the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. This is actually the first profile I've actually been able to show off my Starlight Dragoon. I sold all of my ultra rare copies so I could afford the Starlight, and it was money well spent. So actually really happy to be finally showing this off to all of you guys. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this deck profile. You know, let's hear some love for Israel in the comments for sort of coming up with sort of the ratios of this deck. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you guys have any other ways that you guys would sort of round off this deck, what you would put in, what you take out. But overall, it's been doing really, really solid. It's been, you know, sort of kicking butt over at our locals, you know, just being able to do all of the really crazy combos going into the Scythe Lock with Dragonlark Perrin, as well as the Beatrice. So yeah, really, really cool concept of a deck. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and we will catch you guys for the next profile. Peace.